Welcome to the GMS Magazine podcast. This is a podcast all about board games, role-playing games, and the people who make them, sometimes also the people who play them. I am Paco Garcia, one of your hosts, and this is the RPG interview room, the room in which I am lucky enough to get together with some of the best people in the world of role-playing games and ask them tons of questions about what they're getting up to, what they're doing, what they want to do, so on and so forth. And today, I have with me Alex Chamorro from Infinity Fiction. Now, a disclaimer. As you may know, if you follow the podcast or follow me in Facebook or in Blue Sky or whatever, I am not particularly keen on AI. I think the AI at the moment is causing too much pain to too many people in too many fields for me to want to get involved with it. I have inherently nothing against the technology itself, but the way that it is being used and how it's being trained, it's kind of problematic. So when Alex approached me to ask about, if I would do an interview about Infinity Fiction, which is coming to Kickstarter very soon, I was quite frankly a little bit reluctant, but Infinity Fiction, the website, claims to have a responsible AI use, and that makes me curious. I want to find out if somebody actually can use an AI tool in a responsible way. So I said, yes, let's go for it. Let's find out what you have to say. And that's what we did for an hour and then a very long time as well afterward, where we were talking privately. The interview is going to come very soon. I'm not going to tell you much about what the interview said. I am only going to tell you that I didn't hold my punches and I did ask a lot of pretty hard questions about technology, behind the scenes, what they want to do with it, etc., etc. But there is one thing I did not cover. Okay, and I will do it in future interviews because I really hope I will be able to have Alex back. And it is the world in which Infinity Fiction is created. Infinity Fiction is going to be an AI-driven app where people can join and enjoy, hopefully enjoy, I really hope that they will enjoy, a world that's AI powered with all the NPCs and the world being generated by real humans feeding an AI. So again, it sounds to me very interesting if it can be done in a responsible way. So that's the sort of thing that I wanted to ask, and that's why I said yes. Before we go into it, if you want to come to the show, please do let me know. I would love to hear if you have a project, or if you have released a book and want to talk about it, or if you just simply want to have a chat about what it is like to be part of the industry, of the role-playing games industry. I would love to have you around. So please say hello and follow me on Blue Sky. All the links down there in the show notes. Take a look at Infinity Fiction also. Write to my email, podcast@gmsmagazine.com. I am on Facebook. I am less on Instagram because I don't have time for everything, but Facebook and Blue Sky are probably the best platforms to get a hold of me at the moment. So without any further ado, I really hope that you will listen to the interview to the end. Send me your comments. I would love to hear what you have to say. And hopefully we'll talk to you very, very soon. Take care. Alex, welcome to the show. I think this is the first time that I have on my show anybody who is directly related and working on an AI tool, because my goodness, when you mention the words AI at the moment, the world kind of explodes, which is to some degree understandable, and we're going to talk about that. But before we go into it, Infinity Fiction, who are you within the organization?
I'm CEO and founder of Infinity Fiction.
So how do you do that?
How did I found it?
Yeah. How did it start?
I'll tell you a little bit about myself, and I'll tell you how we got on this journey and how I got to what we're doing. So I got quite a standard business background. Started life off in strategy, consultancy, worked in the industry, did kind of digital consultancy as well. So that's kind of one part of my life, and I think the other part is I'm quite creative. I'm writing a book. Those who know me have been writing a book for a few years. I'm trying to finish it. So it's a young adult fantasy book. Like all those authors, just finding the time to finish. But I also kind of do digital art. I love gaming, and I wanted to combine those two passions. I like business and work. I also like creative side as well. So I wanted something that moved into something that had both those things. And then where Infinity Fiction came from is I've got two young children, and one I started about 18 months ago reading those choose your own adventure stories.
Mm-hmm.
Ian Livingstone and Steve Jackson books. And he loved them. It's obviously the right thing to do before bedtime is to read an adventure fighting book for a 5-year-old. It really winds them down. But we both loved it, and I read them all when I was younger, so it's been kind of nice nostalgia. But I was doing an AI project at the time for work, and I thought, well, the AI boom, this must be a really good use case for AI to do these adventure games. So I had a look at using ChatGPT and others. I also looked at some of the narrative text games that exist, AI games that exist, and they weren't for me. I did not enjoy them. I uninstalled a lot of them after playing them just for half an hour. We actually find with our game that when people test our game, a lot of people try and break the game first. I think it's to see where the boundaries are of the game. And I did the same thing. I played a fantasy game. I said, I want to go to London. And it broke the fourth wall and said, you can't go to London. It's not in this game. I said, no, I really want to go. I found some magician who did portal magic. I went to London. Another playthrough, I wanted to be the mayor. And I ended up being the mayor very easily and just kicking the mayor out of his house. And I was the mayor. It was more like playing like a dream simulator. Mm-hmm. And it's AI concept, AI story as well as AI delivered. So it felt a bit like a meandering journey, which allows you to do what you wanted and didn't really push back. So what I felt was the rules, to make a meaningful gaming experience, like any game, you need strict rules, you need a really good game lore and story, and you need long-term memory because you can't forget what you've done. And also a lot of the games are kind of small prompt games. There's no big game. There's no huge lore that you can really get your teeth into. So it's like, there's an opportunity here. And then when I looked into it, AI is actually not great at doing big data set retrievals and running these type of games, etc. So I totally understand why those games that exist out there have gone down the route they have, because that was kind of the technology that existed. And so I thought, can I do this differently? I put a small team together and we worked out how to do this. And we've built our own engine that keeps the game lore, keeps to a world, keeps to a rule set, and delivers a really great experience as a game, and the AI acting as a game master or dungeon master.
Okay, can you explain exactly what is Infinity Fiction? Because I must admit, when I started reading about it, and I think I got an email a few weeks ago already, I was really confused as to what it was trying to do, because it felt that it was trying to do absolutely everything, and with AI, but powered by humans, which sounds kind of like an oxymoron. This is usually the other way around. So what is Infinity Fiction exactly?
So Infinity Fiction will be a platform that uses human-crafted worlds and delivered and powered by AI. That's what we want to do. Okay. So we want a platform where creators, so that's authors, that's artists, voice actors, narrators, can digitalize and scale their work and create new type of gaming experiences. And so without code. So the idea is you're using AI to leverage that. But it's not just AI, it's also a programming platform where, dice rolling, etc., shouldn't be done by an AI. That should be just done by a dice rolling application. Mm-hmm. So we want to have the right tools to produce a game that delivers that. And AI unlocks a new type of narrative experience that can really scale and leverage human written and human developed content. So that's the essence of Infinity Fiction.
Okay. One of the things that you advertise within the platform itself is responsible AI, which is what caught my eye and my attention, and the reason why I wanted to have you on the show, because my day job, I work in cybersecurity, so I am, to say the least, weary of AI at the moment. But also, I have seen the impact that AI is having on an awful lot of people and the way that it's being implemented. So, as a believer that technology can be used for good, I want to see a good use of AI, as in responsible AI. And that's why I was interested. What makes your platform responsible?
Right. It's a big question, and it's something that we're really passionate about. It's also something that we're on a journey to do as well. So we feel, on that mention I mentioned earlier about Infinity Fiction, we really want AI to be an engine and a scaling platform for creatives, and that creatives own their own IP. AI shouldn't be, training and then leveraging and then using that IP and then delivering it elsewhere. We want a world where if you write a story, you should be able to monetize your IP and deliver that to your audiences, etc. So that's what we want to do. And I think there's several reasons why I think there's a problem with AI at the moment. And I'm hoping that there's solutions like ours that is moving the responsibility of deciding where AI goes from, say, the tech bros and a few companies to a wider community conversation or wider society conversation, where, what is the role of AI? What do we want to do with it? And what are the use cases to actually drive that forward? There's a lot of cases people don't have those, feel frustrated because it really is humanity versus AI. It's all jobs, not just creative jobs, it's technology jobs as well, are at risk, or people, the mindset of being at risk, and there are redundancies in many sectors with AI. And a lot of companies are seeing it as cost-cutting efficiency opportunities, but they're also seeing it as growth opportunities, but often totally AI opportunities. They're using AI to create new services and new offerings. And then you can totally understand why writer strike, a lot of, the AI was a piece of part of the writer strike topic. You had, celebrities coming out saying AI is replacing us and we should kind of push against it in some cases. Really, there needs to be a mechanism for those people to be able to have a voice and change that direction. So again, that's one reason why Infinity Fiction. The other one is the quality as well. The second problem is the quality of AI doesn't actually necessarily lead to a better experience. So they're pretty gaming or writing stories. There's actually been quite a lot of research where they've analyzed stories that come out of AI versus humans. And they've found that AI stories are a lot more homogenous and a lot more flat and a lot more tropey than humans. So it's not a replacement, it's not doing a good job. And there's also an argument to say that we're at the peak level of creativity for AI now. It's already gone through everyone's creativity and all their work, and now it's training itself on itself. So it's going to be reinforcing itself. And I think I don't even know the phrase, the death spiral of homogenization.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be happening. I see that happening, but I'm not saying that's definitely happening, but it's a real risk. So I don't see AI as a replacement for human creativity. So I see this, we need human creativity. AI is not going away, but AI is a great mechanism for scaling and a new type of gaming experience. Let's put those together and also give people a voice to be able to decide how best to use that AI. So that's kind of the responsible AI is how we're defining responsible AI and the cornerstone of infinitive fiction.
Okay, there are two main aspects that I would like to talk about regarding infinitive fiction. One is the people side, and the other one is the technology side, because both of them have different aspects that need to be looked after. And within people, there are two subgroups, one which is going to be the users and the other one which is going to be the content creators. So let's start with the content creators, who are at the moment being the ones more affected by the rise of unethical use of AI. Let's imagine that I am a voice actor, I am a painter, I am a musician, and I want to use the platform so I can basically put my music, put my voice. How do I do that?
So where we are as a journey is we're not ready yet to do that. So the journey that we're going on is we've developed a living world RPG engine, which I can go through what that means. But we've developed that, and then we're writing a large game world called Tidefall. Okay. So in doing that process, we're learning how best to use and develop our technology, and also create creative tools so that other people can then do that, because we're creating those tools for ourselves first. So that's the journey we're on. So, I imagine end of this year or beginning of next is when we'll then launch those kind of creator tools. We're just not there yet. However, we're showcasing and learning with our own project.
Okay. But what are your plans regarding that? I mean, I understand that if this is already something that's in the roadmap of development, you must be thinking about how are permissions going to work? How is return on investment or whatever it is that people contribute going to work? What is it that you have in mind that we will hopefully see when this is funded and being developed?
Yeah, so the details are not ironed out. And again, that's something that we want to deal with the community. So we're actually talking to a few influencers and people like that also to guide us on the right direction to go. Because when we launch this, obviously there's platform costs and running costs. We're planning on doing a subscription model with the game. So a bit like Netflix or Spotify, a way of monetizing and distributing that revenue to the right people. How much that is, is there I imagine there'll be creators that believe they should have more than others because of their brand or whatever. There's a lot to work out here. And also, someone that's written the world versus someone that's done the design of the game and done the artwork. All those things need to be thought through. And I don't see we're the only ones that are going to be deciding that. We want to work with the community to work out what is the best way to do that.
Okay.
Our focus at the moment is let's get the technology right. Technology, we're doing things a bit differently, and we've got different types of efficiencies compared to competition. So our cost base is very different in a good way. And there's new advances all the time with AI. So by the time we launch the game, it's going to be a different world. When we launch the writer tool, it's going to be a different world. There's also a lot of features that we have on the pipeline, whether they're going to be ready for when we first launch, because obviously we'll be evolving it, or whether some things that we've found to be a lot easier than other things that we thought. So in a year's time, I can't say exactly this is what it's going to look like. This is the monetization cut. This is the licensing, all those things, all that's developed. So the essence is that responsible AI. The cornerstone is authors own their IP, that they are benefiting and have a mechanism to write their own game worlds or mods. Potentially, we're also looking at this as well, mod other games as well. So you don't have to write the whole game from scratch. You could add to it as well, and then have that monetization aspect as well. But the detail of that, no, we haven't decided on that yet.
Okay, so let's go in the case into because it would be pretty pointless to ask more questions about that if you don't know how that's going to be.
We have a lot of
working,
but I'd rather not commit. I think I'd rather have conversations with the right people and as we develop that idea. And again, I'd love to hear, from the community and all these people, please reach out to us if you have any views on this as well, because we are, this is not something that we're going to solve purely ourselves. So we've got to work together with society and community. What do we want to do with creativity, and how do we want to scale these things?
Makes sense. Okay, so I'm a user, I'm paying the subscription, and I go into your platform and I want to play with me mates. Is everybody going to need a subscription to be able to access, or are there going to be some sort of party subscription so I can access and then my friends can access the same account?
So the game will, yes, so yes to all those things. So yes, we have solo player or co-op, and we are currently working towards 4-player co-op. So like playing a D&D campaign together with the AI acting as kind of a dungeon master in the middle. We are working out the right mechanism for the pricing. So as I said, the changes in pricing, things 3 months ago are different to today. So in a good way. So we're trying to work towards making it as affordable as possible, at a fairness point of view. Our thinking at the moment is where you would have one person will be able to host a game and then others join that game. So you'd only need one paid subscription for a multiplayer game. But again, that's subject to us working out the final details, but that's how we would like to do it. And it's going to be played initially through our web platform.
Okay, so I create my game, my mates are coming, we have an absolutely amazing adventure, and all the data with the adventure, all the characters that we've created, is the dialogue going to remain in there as well, so we can revisit it in the future. Is that going to be a self-contained kind of game, or will the data from players who go to the same city, to the same taverns in Tidefall, is that going to be shared? So the consequences of what I do in my game are going to have repercussions in other people's games?
No, they are standalone game instances. So your game and the game that you play with you and your friends will be your game. It won't be a dynamic world where what you do in one dungeon affects someone else's dungeon. It will be like you're playing a 4-player Dungeons and Dragons game with people.
However, you are also developing the world itself. Does that mean that at some point you could decide that, hey, I'm paying this writer to create this city, and now it's going to be available in the future so everybody can use it in their own game? Is that how it's going to work, or will I also be able to create my own city and put it in my game?
So one nice thing, the way we've developed it is we can add new content as the game grows. So we can grow the game while people are still playing the game. So if you want to if we add a city, we add new storylines or a whole new apocalyptic event or something like that in Tidefall, we can do that. In terms of people being able to mod Tidefall, again, that's kind of that writer tool discussion, whether we allow Tidefall to be moddable, whether there's other games that are moddable, what the tools are to do that. So that's a 12-month beyond opportunity. I think our focus at the moment is to get Tidefall developed and out.
Okay. Let's go into a bit more. Well, actually, there's one question, but it's a question that applies to both the physical, as in the personal, and the technological side of it, which is safety. What are going to be the safety mechanisms that are going to be in place so people don't abuse the system itself? So things in the lines of protecting people. Let's say that I'm playing a game and I am going to be playing with people that I don't know. What kind of safety measures are going to be, apart from the fact that I can turn my computer off and leave? Is there going to be a reporting system so abusive behavior can be monitored? How is that going to work?
So the idea is that you'd be playing with friends. So you would have a hopefully a safe environment in that situation to start off with. But yes, we have processes. Again, I'd bring my technical team on. They've got a whole load of processes in terms of protection there. But one thing with the AI engine is it's kind of how you would play. You could say anything. The way of filtering a game. So if you play a typical D&D game, I know this is slightly a tangent to what you were asking. I know you were talking about kind of abuse to people. It's just abuse to the AI engine, I suppose. So say you play, with a lot of AI engines like resolving things with non-conflict and things like that. So if you can go to a player, try and spin a game up in in other AI engines and say, I don't like the look of that guy, and I cut his head off, which, you know, is an outrageous thing to do, but totally acceptable in D&D. A lot of AI engines will say, have you tried talking to them first? Have you, so our situation will be, okay, you try to do that, but then if the rules kick in, then it's the process of, it could have been a very risky thing to actually do. And then there's consequences to your actions, but you can do whatever you want. So you could do a lot worse things than try and kill someone. We don't want to limit the things that you do. However, saying that, there are safeguards on topics and certain things that we want to put in, but we're having that not as part of the AI engine, but as an overlay to what people are doing with the AI. So it's kind of not ingrained into the AI, like, I want you, peaceful resolution is always first before you do a fight. No, D&D or rules like that need to have that as an option.
Okay.
And we have certain things overlaid in terms of protections, etc.
Okay, let's go into the a bit more technical side of how this is working. What engine are you using to create the AI? What's the core?
A lot of it's our own engine. So we've developed it ourselves over a year, and we're using a lot of open source methods. I'm not going to go into detail about the technology because it's at the moment very proprietary and confidential. It's quite unique it's very unique in terms of how it pulls data and how it delivers those stories to the player.
No, I understand totally. Not going into that kind of detail, but I was interested to find out if it was something that you have built on by yourselves, or if it is a model that you have already bought that has been already trained and is being developed and built up with extra information.
Understood. Okay, so we have different methods. So yes to all the above. However, we are using a lot of open source AI engines, existing. So that's one of the reasons why we're staying responsible rather than truly ethical AI, because we don't have the budget to retrain all AI, not using people's data and all the things that happens. We are using what's existing out there. But then the way it's delivered and the outcome of what it does in a responsible way. Okay.
Let's talk about some of the type of responsibility, which is data protection. One of the problems that my daily job is finding is that it is incredibly difficult to really monitor where the data that users input go and how to stop users from inputting data that don't even belong to them. Anybody can upload, a PDF to a number of AI or learning machine applications. How are you tackling that to make sure that people cannot just copy paste some info from a copyrighted D&D book and use it within, Infinite Affection and before?
You mean in terms of building the worlds?
Yes.
Yeah. So we are, as I said, we're focused on Tidefall, the first game. That's what we're working.
Yeah. So let's assume okay. I don't know if this can be done. So I'm really just elucubrating here. But let's say that I go to Tidefall and there's a city. You send me the quick guide and it looks absolutely gorgeous. We'll talk about that also in a minute. But but I feel like I want to play a paladin that it's not really there, but I can copy and paste from this PDF that I have in here that somebody else has written that doesn't know that I'm going to use it in your platform, and this is what I want to use.
It's an interest. It's actually a really interesting topic. I suppose we are. So, if you were playing a Dungeons and Dragons game with someone, and you just verbally said, "Oh, I'm this paladin from, and I'm going to be based on whatever character," I don't know whether that would be something that every dungeon master would say, "Sorry, you can't do that. I don't. Let's not talk about that." We're not leveraging any data that's coming into our platform. So if someone comes up with a fantastic adventure in our game, we are not going through everyone's campaigns and putting stories out and then making it canon and saying that's our IP. the idea is there's a game instance that you're playing based on a consistent game world through an AI engine. So, so in that scenario, I'm not sure about the copyright, like what the copyright infringement is there, because we're not using that data. That's a player that self-used that data and is not, and also that player is not benefiting from that data. It's just part of the game world. But but that's something we've not explored, and we have people looking at these things as we're developing the writer tools.
I mean, the reason why I asked that is because even though, yeah, it is my own instance, but at the end of the day, that's been ruled. I mean, my own instance is not going to have my own AI. You're going to have an engine, and that engine is going to be sharing information.
It's not learning from your game.
It's not learning from the game.
It's not learning from your instance at all. It's just playing it out.
Okay.
So it's what's human by our writers.
Yeah.
It's canon. And then how you interact with that is how you decide to interact with it.
Okay, so if I included I raised the 3 cream from Athos, because that's what I want to have, because I'm cool like that, that would not be fed to the AI so it can process that data and use it in different games?
No, it will only be in your instance.
Okay, that sounds very encouraging. I do like that quite a lot, I have to say. And it's quite a relief also. So yeah, so
that's one of the principles that what we're doing is this human written aspect. So when you play, World of Warcraft, it really is the world that those developers have written. This is exactly the same. So we are writing a world where all the lore has been written, like every building's been written, every NPC, their knowledge, their motivations, and we can go into how the living world AI works. But everything's written by people, and the AI engine is interpreting that data, those relationships, and then delivering that to the player. So if we both play a different game and we go into the Golden Pick, which is the pub in the starting town location, we will both meet Tabitha, the landlady there, and we will both interact with her. She'll have the same personality, but you might ask a very different question or interact with her in a very different way that I do. You know, I might want a meal, you might want an adventure or something, and she will respond in the way that is true to her motivations and her personality and the context that's happened with her. She won't be then taking your information and then learning and then changing. No, she'll keep consistent. So every game, Tabitha is always there, and she always has that personality.
Okay, good. Another question on safety, and this is all about data protection. Where are the servers going to be located to make sure that the data that people submit is going to be safe? Because that's something else that we are seeing an awful lot. You know, servers in the EU need to have certain documentation, and they have to have certain, the GDPR needs to be obeyed. Servers in the US, wow, servers in China, well, let's not even think about them. Yeah. How is the data going to be handled to make sure that anything we say, just in case somebody decides, which could be done, you know, having a conversation and sharing some personal data, is going to be safe and complying with local rules and regulations?
So I really wish our CTO was here. So this is exactly the things that we are doing. And we're also currently talking to a few providers right now, and we are talking to them about that exact topic. So definitely I think in terms of the types of data we're using is quite low risk. You know, we are using game data. I want to chop their head off. I want to run away. I want to talk to someone. You know, we aren't asking for credit card information. We don't want personal details, all those things. However, in terms of data storage, processing, all those things, that is a topic we are currently live talking to suppliers about at the moment.
Okay, so cybersecurity is something that of a concern that you're looking into at the moment, hopefully.
Yes, and again, I'm very happy that we can have a follow-up conversation with our tech team and talk in more detail about it and the plans there. But yeah, it's definitely the responsibility aspect is something we want across the board.
Okay, that sounds very good. And now let's talk at last about the world itself. There are several things that I am very, very interested about. One is, who are the authors?
So our authors are, for Titanfall, our own Infinity Fiction authors. And So yeah, they're our own writers, and we're actually recruiting writers. So if you know any good writers,
I do.
we are currently recruiting 2 writers at the moment. And the way you write the world is very different to how you'd write, say, a story or a narrative. It's very much a world building approach.
Okay.
And as we've written, the writers are going to work quite. This is probably more of a pitch for the writers here, but we need people that want to work with technology teams as well as be creative as well together, because we need to shape those writer tools and how best to get the best out of the AI and vice versa, the best out of the narrative and the story and the game world together. And it's a journey because this is brand new. We're working out how best to deliver that story.
Okay. Art, because that game is looking thus far surprisingly good for an AI product. Because I am quite, as a graphic artist myself, I'm quite critical of AI art usually, but it's actually working. It's looking very good. Are you supplying your own sample of imagery and using any kind of generative technology to create more images? How are you working that out?
So we are using a combination of AI and human artistry on it. So we are most of the images in Midjourney are either drawn by our own artists or are also Midjourney. That's the platform that we're predominantly using.
How are you addressing the concerns of artists who may be thinking that using Midjourney, even if it is with their own work, is not something that should be supported? Because I can imagine that you're having a fair amount of backlash on that topic. How are you addressing that?
We kind of have 3 buckets, I think, of feedback. We get buckets that people say, love it, AI's here to stay, we really want to, like, it's a great experience, let's have more of it. We get other people that say, AI is the devil, I hate it, it's stolen everything else. And then we kind of get the mid group that say, you're taking quite a practical approach with where we're at. We are a small unfunded startup. For us to get the quality out, we have to use, as I said, we're not the ethical line. Is probably a bit beyond us, but responsible is the line we're using for now. We're on a journey to do all those things. So yes, it's a journey. But again, all the pictures we have, they've all been edited and tweaked by artists as a minimum.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's kind of that combination. I mean, for example, we're doing a game called Pi4. We're going to have thousands of NPCs, hundreds of locations. It is impossible for us to develop all those pictures using human artists. That's impossible. What we need to do is scale using AI, but each picture will be curated. So there will be Tabitha in your instance will be Tabitha. It won't be a random generation of a person behind a bar.
Mm-hmm.
It will be curated as a choice. And that's where we're starting from. And then as we develop and as we develop as a business, we'll then move towards creating full artistry models where you can train your own AI, all those things. But we're on a journey. So we're kind of starting where here, and then we're moving forward.
So it very much sounds like you're creating your own Laura. You're creating your own means to create art based on the images that you are creating, so the style can be yours. Is that something that you had planned from the very beginning?
Yeah. So the plan is an artist can come on, or our artist, or will be able to train their own models. And so you could choose a game and say, I want to play Titanfall, or say I'm developing a game. I've chosen my own game. I've written the world. I'm going to choose these voice actors for these characters. I'm going to choose this artist because I like the style, like anime or whatever it is. I like this style. And then when the game is launched, it then is tailored to that vision that writer has to that game world. And then that monetization kicks in for all those people benefit from that.
Okay. Now, I'm a writer, you're hiring me, you're paying me to write this thing. Let's say that I give you a piece with, I don't know, another tavern. Let's be original. And out of that tavern, how close is it the text that I give you, or is it going to be used to create more data based on that text? And if so, let's say that I give you a tavern with 5 rooms, but because of the interaction of people, the tavern grows to have 10 rooms because the AI needs to expand it a little bit. Will I be kind of compensated for the expansion on the content that I have created? I don't know if I'm explaining myself correctly.
I think so. If you develop a world, that is your world, and you currently can decide how much creative freedom the AI has or not. So, for example, I need there to be a Stella for some story, and then the writer hasn't written a Stella. Do we put one in or not? Do we allow the AI to put one in or not? We could be very strict and say, no, you are 100% canon. If it's not written, the person will say there's no Stella here, sorry, and then that quest doesn't happen. It is that writer's game world using that AI engine. So it's the IP of that writer.
Okay. And now let's say that I'm an artist and I have, I don't know, and I know that this is not going to happen yet, but I can imagine that is something that will happen. To be honest, I think it should happen. Let's say that I am a very good artist. I've been going on for, 40 years, and I have 5,000 paintings. So now the platform allows me to upload all my paintings and train that chunk of the AI so people can generate, they can use the images that I am uploading, and they can generate images in my style that are effectively creating a LoRa. Will you have some sort of means to compensate people for when the AI generates a picture based on their own style so they can benefit from that?
That's exactly the plan. So it's a scaling, in the same way the author's written a world and then the AI is scaling that world and delivering it, exactly the same with voice actors and with artists.
Okay.
So yeah, identically. So when the model's been trained on that artwork, they will be able, the AI will deliver art in the same style as that person who has voluntarily, has on purposely trained the AI with their style, and then be compensated for that.
What kind of computer are people going to need to run this efficiently?
That's on our side. So it'll be to start off with, it'll be a web-based platform. So all the computer powering is on our side.
How much power are you going to need? Because this is sounding like an absolutely ginormous endeavor the moment that you have a medium-sized population within the game itself. I mean, what's the user base that you plan to be able to support smoothly at the beginning?
We are totally scalable. So we've designed a world, and the back end engine is totally designed to be scalable. We have, from what we know, we've written things we've architectured it very differently so to others. So how our memories are managed, how the game data is retrieved, stored, delivered, all of that is very efficient.
Yeah, but I mean,
so the amount of data doesn't actually change the processing power, because we have a certain system to select what is the right type of files, what's the right data in this moment.
I'm just worried that, if people were able to log on to World of Warcraft or Diablo 3 and completely crash the servers, how are you going to stop it? Suddenly you have, 100,000 people running their Friday game and they all come at the same time. What kind of safeguards are there going to be for that? I mean, because that needs more than a laptop from your end. I mean, not mine.
I don't know, everything we will be using, I don't want to name the suppliers now, but we will be using, leading scaling providers, etc., to do this. There's only a few that exist in the world that do this at the speed that's required, etc. And some of those players didn't exist a year ago. So, it is a real changing world.
Yeah, no, to be honest, I think it sounds, from that point of view, it sounds really exciting, because starting right now, you're not going blind, but you're going in I know where I want to go, but I'm not really sure what I'm going to find when I get there, because the computers in a year's time are going to be like different. done now. So that sounds quite exciting. Lastly, because we've been talking already 41 minutes, but in terms of the acceptance, and I know that this can be a difficult topic, but in terms of the acceptance of what the company want to do, how have you found the reception of the idea? Because as you were saying, some people are like, yeah, anything AI cool. Some people are like me who are a bit cautious about it, but would like to see it being used properly. And then some people who just see, horns and devil's tails all over the place. How have you found the reception?
Quite good, actually. So it is that range of people and responses. But we've actually found it over the whole overall quite good. So we've actually just launched in terms of the brand. We've got a game video law book that came out this week, sample that you can see kind of the world. And that law book is, this is kind of where the difference is compared to other AI companies, is if you download that law book and you play the game, that law book is canon. All those things and those stories in that law book, you will be able to do and interact with and go to those people, and all those characters are canon. So I think that we are a middle ground, or we are different in terms of we're not Gen AI everything. We are Gen AI for delivery, but actually it is human, it's scaling human. So for example, end of last year, we put a few roles out, and over a month we had 2,000 applicants. And in fact, LinkedIn took us down because they said that was too many. You're a startup, you shouldn't have that many. And they put us back up and said, yeah, could go ahead. So, we found that we've had, quite an overwhelming response, actually, in terms of people that either want to know more and understand what's the journey of responsible AI, and we welcome that discussion because we haven't got all the answers there. We haven't got all the technologies built. A lot of conversations have been around what we're going to be doing in 12 months' time. So we haven't got all those things done because we're focused on the one game, Tidefall Now. So we want to have those discussions and those inputs in that journey. So yeah, we've had a great reception. However, saying that, we also have people that have said, bite me. We had, some people really don't like, that AI piece. And back to that kind of responsible AI discussion that we had, I kind of feel AI is here to stay. It's very hard to go put, Pandora's box back, if that's their mindset. So how do we responsibly move forward as society? And I think if you totally ignore it, all we're going to be doing is allowing, the tech bro companies and individuals and companies to make that decision for us as society. I think it's better that we decide what do we want to do, and creatives are a really important part of humanity and creativity and our souls, and we really need to have that discussion as a society and not allow technologists, etc., to be dictating that.
And one last thing regarding that responsibility, one of the aspects of AI that is also causing an awful lot of concern is the environmental impact of all the calculations that has to be done. What sort of measures are going to be put in place to either minimize that impact or to work reparatively so you can kind of level up or even undo some of the damage that those calculations create?
Yes, there's a lot of calculations, and AI on top of that does a lot of calculations. We are making sure that our model is as efficient as possible. So that's like number one, to make that happen. And number two is we are looking at some mitigation things as well. But again, I'm not ready to talk about those things because that's, again, a live conversation internally. But again, it's a live conversation that we are having for that exact reason.
Okay, no, but at least you're having the conversation, which is, more than most people do. So I understand you not having the answer just yet. But if you're moving in that direction, I think that at the very least this is quite encouraging. You're going to go on to Kickstarter. Do you have any ideas to when it could possibly come out? Do you have a date already or a range?
I think it's likely to be end of the summer, early autumn for the thing, and then writer tools probably beginning of next year or end of this year, depending on how much we raise and all those things. Yeah, and then but the focus is Tideful. Like we want to showcase what's possible, which is why we've chosen a very big open world game to showcase all the things that's possible. It would have been easier if we just chosen like a Sherlock Holmes adventure or something and done like 10 characters, everything else, but it doesn't showcase the breadth and the amount of opportunity that the game engine has.
And one last question that I do have to ask, given some recent events with other companies, and is that you're a startup. Startups do need money. Is any of the money that's been invested in your company coming from crypto or any kind of technology like that?
At the moment, we're unfunded, so no.
Okay.
But again, where funding comes from is also an important topic for us as well.
Okay, good. Alex, thank you very much indeed for being with me today. This has been quite encouraging in places. I eagerly wait to see what some of the answers that you couldn't give me today come up to be. I really hope that people are not too mean to you, because I know that this is something that is likely happening or going to happen and has happened. And I don't like that idea either. And I hope that you manage to make Infinity Fiction as responsible and as ethical as possible.
Oh, Paco, thank you very much for having me. And then just to say, I haven't had too much negativity. I've had a lot of positive, which has been great. It's some negativity, but I would say it's been like 5% of interactions with the community. Most of it has been positive, which is great. Quick plug. So do look at the website, infinityfiction.ai. As you mentioned, Paco, we're planning a Kickstarter and probably launching in a couple of months. We want to hear from you. And if you are some of those people that aren't a fan, please do reach out. If you have thoughts or you have ideas of where the direction should be going, etc., we'd love to hear it. We also have an ambassador program, people that can help us, people that can be closer to the project and are passionate and can help again guide those things quite actively. Writers, video gamers, D&D, tabletop gamers, and we've just launched a law book, so you can kind of see, like as you mentioned, kind of the direction we're going with the game and the law, the detailed law that the game will be providing is that's why we provided the samples so people could see that. So yeah, please get in touch.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Paco.